Hi.
Oh, hello there!
My name is Mark. Before you say anything, I know. Why have long hair if you have your hair tied down? It's like 40-something degrees out here, and I'm in a studio surrounded by lights and amplifiers and computers and a lot of hot stuff, and I really can't have my AC on, otherwise you're going to hear during the video, so yeah, I guess it's probably better like this, right? Even if it isn't, fight me, come on, fight me.
I would kick your ass.
One thing that I noticed about more beginning guitar players and guitar players in the latest generations that learn a lot of their guitar skills and music theory through the internet and YouTube videos is that many times, and I'm guilty of this myself,
But of course you are.
we learn stuff, we understand the concept, but then we don't really make much of it. It's kind of like learning a new recipe, right? You learn this recipe of how to do fried chicken.
Fucking disgusting.
Then you never actually do that fried chicken. You may know the procedure, but you've never really done it before. And that's probably as important, even if you know all the theory behind it, exactly how everything works and why it doesn't work and why it should work or why it should not work. It's not really the same thing as doing it.
I don't like where this is going.
And I guess I probably talked about this in a couple of videos before, but I think it's really important for you to understand this. It comes to a time when you're kind of bored of your own guitar playing. You're like, well, I'm just playing the same old licks, and I'm playing over the same chord progressions, or I'm using the same scales to improvise. Maybe I've touched a little bit on different genres of music, and I don't really know what to do next. Whatever's happening, I can tell you this. Learning new stuff is important. And not only learning new stuff, but perhaps digging and trying to learn about why stuff that you already can do works or not. It's really cool. And it's really important.
Always a but.
But maybe you haven't taken what you already know to its full extent.
Say what?
I made a video kind of touching on this subject, which is about playing with octaves taken to its full extent. And again, you can check that video in the card section right there.
I don't think so, homeboy.
But I thought it would be a better idea to do this video kind of as an introduction to that video and to future videos, which is talking about stuff that you already know, but you can't really employ to its full extent. And if you're not understanding what I want to get, just keep watching. You'll get it when you start playing.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Before we dive into it, I just want to say that timestamps will be in the description below. And while you're down there, please subscribe to my channel and turn on all the notifications.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
YouTube has been acting a little bit weird lately. Even if you subscribe to a channel, you may really not be notified of that channel's content.
Say that again.
And even if you turn on the little notification bell, you still may really not be notified of that channel's content. It is really weird, nobody knows what's going on. But if you want to stay tuned to my channel and my content, whether it makes a difference or not, please subscribe to my channel and turn on all the notifications. Not just occasional notifications, which are probably the default, turn on all the notifications. Even if you don't care for none of that, I have a giveaway that you may be interested in. And it involves subscribing to my channel and following me on social media. So yeah, please stay tuned to the end of the video, yes?
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
And while you're down there, please leave a like. And perhaps checking some of my other videos after this one. What about some kind of a hack or trick to play over chord progressions and chord changes? And perhaps, what about an easy way to mix scales and create new licks? And lastly but not leastly, what about playing guitar with effects without really having effects pedals? All of those videos will be on the description below, on the card section right there, and on the annotations of the end screen. So please, stay tuned. And check them all if you want to.
Hell no! No! No!
So yeah, I guess we can just get straight to the playing part.
Finally!
Before we dive straight into it, I must say that I have my guitar tuned a half step down. But you don't really need to worry much about it. It's not like I'm going to teach you some sort of a lick or something. It's more like a conceptual lesson, I guess.
Oh, that's fancy!
Okay, so here's kind of what I meant about stuff that you can already do and already play, but you're not really playing, I guess. Let's say, for instance, that you're playing A minor pentatonic. Easy, right? Well, what about trying to employ some open string goodness? We all know that if we are on the 5th fret, the open string below will have the same pitch, if it's tuned correctly. Without the little switch to the 4th fret, when we go from the G string to the B string, and if you look closely, there's a lot of 5th fret action right here. So why not write some of those notes with open strings? See what I'm getting at? It's not something that you've really never thought of before, or something that you thought, oh, I didn't really know this was possible. Like, we all know this is possible, but we get so focused on learning new weird scales and learning new arpeggio shapes and trying to work out some new techniques and whatever that we forget about this kind of things. Like, for instance, you could do...
Slow down!
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
For instance, let's just say that you wanted to do a lick like... And as you could hear, even though they were the same sounding notes, they didn't really sound the same. One thing is to play like... Or maybe... Open strings have a different sound. You could also try and employ some open strings. You see, small little things that, again, it's not like you don't know how to play them, you've probably done these kind of things before, but it's not really the same thing as doing them constantly and really getting them under your fingers.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
And another thing people say about open strings is they're like, I can switch notes with open strings. But I can't really bend open strings. I can bend frets. But I can't really bend open strings. And I say, yes you can. You can always bend notes behind the nut. You see John 5 and all of those country guys doing a lot of these open string goodness like... Stuff that you could perhaps do. These small little things are things that you can try. Even if you say that if I'm in the middle of the solo, I can't just go from my regular playing part like... And I'd say, well, who knows? Maybe it really depends on what you're playing, but I can tell you that guys like Johnny Highland, for instance, are so proficient in this already that they can just go effortlessly from playing their regular notes to doing those behind the nut bends. And then like using the open strings, bending behind the nut is something that you really kind of have to practice. It's kind of like when you're learning to bend notes, right? You're not really sure of when your note reached the right spot, so you're like... The same thing here. Before you can go... You gotta practice it a little bit so that you can say, oh, okay, I know that I need to apply this much force for that note to reach that note. Different guitars will have a different angle on the headstock, and it will mean that the force you gotta do will be different. But yeah, try it out if you want to.
I can't take it anymore! I just want to die!
Another thing that you can do, and it's pretty much related to the open string thing, is do harmonics. You have harmonics pretty much all over the place. And if you know which notes relate to which harmonics, just as you did with the open string, switch notes with harmonics.
Really?
And if you don't really know which notes relate to which harmonics, I can tell you this. All the harmonics on your 7th fret relate to all the notes on your 7th fret. All the notes on your 12th fret will relate to all the notes on your 12th fret. And in consequence, all the notes on your 12th fret will be like all the notes on your open strings. Just an octave higher. And if you want to get it even higher, you can go for the 5th fret. So there's a bunch of notes that you can already use. Like, let's say that you're doing a lick like... You could perhaps do... Or something like it, right?
In my opinion, that sucked.
You don't really need to play like the entire lick with harmonics, but there's these little things that you can add. Even like artificial harmonics. Even if you're doing... You can do... It's not like something that you need to relearn or something that you know nothing about and that you really need to focus to be able to use it. Tiny details that perhaps you forgot about, right?
Like somebody, you better.
This last one kind of relates to the video I mentioned before about octave playing, and if you're watching this one till now, well, thank you so very much for watching. Cheers to you. Just to give you a tease for that other video, let's say that you're improvising in C major, for instance, and you're using all of your licks like... Instead of just playing your fancy licks and all of the licks you've been working on for playing over chord changes, why not just play octaves?
Wait, what?
Of course!
You see lots of guys doing their solos like... And I guess because it's something that a lot of guys do, sometimes we get bored with it. But it is ultimately something you should consider doing. Not only does it sound cool, well, at least to me, but I guess you can agree that it can bring a different style of playing and ultimately some kind of a different way for you to approach improvising and jamming. Because one thing is for you to be comfortable playing around your, I don't know, with your D minor pentatonic. You know, tons of licks and tons of positions that you can use. But if you're playing octaves, if you're playing... it kind of forces you to play differently, because you really gotta maintain that octave shape. Even if you mess out just for a little bit, like... it forces you to be careful. And that's again something that perhaps you may want to try. And it can kind of give a fuller sound to your playing. No wonder the jazz guys did it, right?
Nobody cares.
Lastly but not leastly, and this one kind of goes in a completely different direction of what we've been talking till now, use your guitar. In my case I have a Strat, so I have a 5-position switch. And I have 3 knobs. I have a volume knob, I have a tone knob for the middle pickup and the neck pickup, and I have a tone knob for the bridge pickup. Well, use those for your advantage. For instance, let's say that you're playing a solo and you're on your bridge pickup and you're like... That's a cool tone and it works, of course, but what about changing pickup positions or messing with the tone knob? You don't really need to be on your bridge pickup for your solos. And then switch to your neck pickup when it comes time for the shreddy stuff. You can switch between them. If you noticed, a lot of the pros and guys who can really express themselves through their guitars use their pickup selector switch a lot. Look at guys like Gus McGovern and Nick Johnston and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and even guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan. They were all playing their stuff like... Imagine that I tried to play all of that in the bridge position. It's not like it would have sounded worse, it would have just sounded different. And it's these sorts of things that you can perhaps approach. Or maybe, I don't know, you're playing on your neck pickup. Or about rolling the tone down a little bit. For instance, I did that, and it kind of brought the more jazzier type of playing. But let's say that you're playing over a chord progression, and you switch to your position number 2 on your Strat, and you get that more quackier sound. That type of sound may bring your more country-esque type of playing. That really wasn't that much of a country-sounding thing, but you get the drill, right? All of these different things that you can do that even if you say, well, yeah, but what's most important are the notes you're playing. Doesn't matter if you switch pickup positions, or you play a harmonic or an open note, or you tap that note, or you slide into that note. It's most important that you play the correct notes. It really means that you gotta be comfortable with your instrument. If you're trying to play over a backing track or a chord progression, or whatever you're trying to play, it really is most important that you're comfortable around the notes you're playing. You know what those notes sound like. I'm going to play an E note. Do you already know which E are you going to play? Do you know what that E means against the chord you're playing? Do you know all of the E's you can play? That can be ultimately a thought out decision instead of going, well, yeah, I'm just going to play my E minor pentatonic over it. How you approach those notes and how are you going to play them? Not just which notes to play, but how to play those notes. That's something you can do without learning theory. That's something that you can do without really practicing a lot. Like, it's not like practicing scales when you're metronomically playing super slow and then slowly raising the tempo. And it's not something like music theory when you really gotta nerd out and understand what those concepts mean. You can do when you have nothing to do and you're playing your guitar and you're just playing your same old licks. This may be useful, I guess.
Oh, well, what if I said, well, if you... Yeah.
Thank you so very much for watching. If I was able to help you out in some way or another, please leave it in the comments below. Is there anything else you'd like to add this sort of list of things that you're not really using when you could definitely use them anytime soon? Was there something I missed? Something I should have said? Do you have any suggestions for videos or what kind of content I should make? Don't forget to leave it in the comments below.
Here's a phone. Call somebody who cares.
As always, I'm giving away free one-on-one Skype lessons.
Free?
And anyone can enter, but they are limited though, so you gotta be fast.
I am speed.
And all you have to do to win one free Skype lesson and discounts on future lessons is to subscribe to my channel, turn on all the notifications, follow me on Instagram and like my Facebook page. After that, DM me on one of those social media with screenshots proving that you did everything mentioned before. And yeah, I guess that's it. Again, thank you so very much for watching. Please consider subscribing and maybe checking some of my other videos out. Don't forget to turn on all the notifications. And yeah, cheers.